Alright, group project. The outline of this presentation is based on the popularity of technology then and about 15 years ago and now. Well, compared to now. The purpose of this is to inform, give an audience on the popularity of technology, such as the economical impact, how people have lived, how technology has advanced since the beginning of the millennium, and how much it has changed us as people and social media networks to be, for example. Methods of socializing 15 to 20 years ago were drastically different. As a kid, I personally never used a phone. Never used a phone. I would go down the street to a friend's house to find out if they were home. I would have to fight tooth and nail over being able to come home before the sun went down instead of having the curfews that are strictly enforced nowadays. Dial-up, as I got older, became an issue when it came to using the landline because we weren't able to have cell phones. They were too expensive at that point. And then as I got older, the Nokias, indestructible little cell phones, became my best friend. Basically, the transition of technology has advanced from practically non-existent to landlines to cell phones to computers to wireless devices such as tablets and smartphones and computers that connect to TVs and accessories that wirelessly connect to computers. The strength of phones, for example, has drastically changed. Again, back to Nokia's. They didn't need a protective box. They didn't need a life proof. They didn't need an OtterBox to keep them from shattering. Nowadays, most phones, as smart as they are and as advanced as they are, they need something to protect them from shattering. They're so fragile. Computers, even back then, were way simpler than they are now. There were fewer knowledgeable people in regards to hacking and creating viruses and spreading viruses, so you had less to worry about. Granted, they were slower computers, but you didn't have the fear of stuff being taken, like identity theft. Dial-up internet. Everyone remembers the dial-up days, how slow it was. Trying to make a phone call and all you would hear is the buzzing sound on the phone. I mean, even when wireless internet first started up, it was tricky. Had to use and get familiar with routers and the Ethernet cables. You didn't really have wireless. It was just not dial-up. So, the devices have been the most drastic change, I feel. Going from a wireless mouse that I can use with a computer hooked up to a TV, as well as a wireless keyboard to connect to the computer connected to the TV. Back in the day, I was lucky to have a desktop, and I was lucky for that desktop even worked. If it saved anything, if it decided not to crash on me, if it decided to actually work and turn on and save and function correctly. Nowadays, kids as little as 11 and 12-year-olds are using tablets. They're using cell phones, smartphones. They're able to use computers and touchscreen, and laptops are even touchscreen now. I remember when webcams were a huge thing. It's like, oh my goodness, we can communicate. And now all of a sudden, web cameras are on everything. Everything. You don't even need a fancy lens anymore because technology's starting to advance to improve the pixels on a cell phone, which is probably denting the photography industry in that aspect. Now, the economic impact. Is it efficient, or is technological advances damaging? I mean, it has its up and down, its ups and its downs. The benefits and downfalls for online schooling, for example. Parents such as myself or people with busy schedules can go to school online. They don't have to take 4 hours out of their time every so many days of the week and pay for childcare or lose that time off of being able to earn more money at work in order to go to school. They can do it on their own time, at home, or somewhere quiet in a library or something, and keep up with their grades and their personal lives as well. Staying connected, people staying connected from family members to friends to people you knew in high school. Social media is huge. It's advancing, it's complicated, it's a huge factor in identity theft now. You can run it on an app, you can run it on a website, you can use Wi Fi in vehicles nowadays in order to gain access to a social media platform instead of having to use cellular data. Major businesses and companies were run as small, used in one or running out of one building for the most part. Communication was limited in the opportunities that one had. Now you can run franchises everywhere. You can advertise differently. You can advertise stronger. You can advertise more conveniently, more creatively. Basically, social media is the worst. Back to social media. You can use it to destroy someone's reputation. Businesses also use it to boost a business, to get their name out there, to gain a reputation. But overall, in conclusion, the older generation has probably suffered more than the younger generation when it came to, well, I remember back in my day that going down the street, you could find out, you had to actually leave your house, ride your bike, or walk down the street to find out if Bobby Joe was at their house or if they were out running errands with their parents or if they were sick. You were sent outside. Kids outside, or nowadays, don't even really recognize what outside is. They are outside, they're not outside for long. They're too busy complaining, or they want to watch TV, or they want to play around with tablets. Technology is starting to take over the kids, not even just the teenagers, but the kids. Nowadays, kids won't even know what a floppy disk really is. They'll see the save button and they'll only think it's a save button when we all know it's actually a floppy disk because floppy disks were used to save things. But, as good as it is, it also comes with its downfalls, just like anything. So, all in all, I believe the popularity of technology has increased, but if used in moderation, it can be a good thing, more so than a bad thing.